This is California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are in Watsonville today. In fact, right now we are in the City Hall of Watsonville. And if we look out the window, we can see the home of the supervisor who's with us today. He is Santa Cruz Supervisor Greg Caput. And it's very funny that we can see your home right from the window. You served on this city council before you became a supervisor. I want to speak with you about what's known as the Pajaro River.
Sure.
Tell us about that river as it runs through this county and otherwise.
It actually begins in Santa Clara County. There's a 10,000 acre area that's called Soap Lake up in Santa Clara County. That's really where the Pajaro River starts. Water comes in from the hills there in Santa Clara County. It quickly enters San Benito County, passes through by Romas, and then it becomes actually Monterey and Santa Cruz County that share each bank. Santa Cruz County having the northern bank and Monterey County having the southern bank. So,
Is it particularly majestic, beautiful? Is it a place where birds, I know Pajaro means bird in Spanish, so is it a place where birds congregate? Tell us about it.
It is, and that was part of the project that we did get done. That was called the bench excavation, and that was being studied for years, and we finally got the go-ahead. The county of Santa Cruz has been spearheading the whole thing through Public Works and also with Bruce Leclerc and the county. So all the information, all the counties and the cities that are involved in this are actually giving the information and backing up the county plan that has to be signed off on everybody.
So let's talk about what needs to be done. The river, as I understand it, and we should be so lucky at some point, but it has flooding issues.
It does.
We should be lucky enough that we have a flood, but I jest. Talk to us about what happened, for example, in the 90s with regard to levee
In
breaches.
1995, it's easy to remember, there were $95 million in damages, in 95 and 95. And there was lawsuits, and both Monterey County and Santa Cruz County paid off those lawsuits, and I believe it was about $20 million each.
What happened exactly?
What it did is it overran the banks, and luckily it didn't go into the residential areas, which is Bay Village senior areas here in Watsonville.
Right.
And so the water damaged a lot of prime ag land.
So in a minor sense, it's what happened in New Orleans with Hurricane Katrina. I mean, literally the banks overflowed.
Sure.
It just wasn't as dramatic, but still, for people who lived here, obviously, it was quite harmful.
And it could have been really terrible if it flooded the probably 1,000 homes that are in Bay Village and Senior Village in that area.
So as a result of that event, there has been a lot of discussion.
And actually there was a lot before that was going on, but nothing was really getting done until about 4 years ago. We finally got the go-ahead from the Army Corps of Engineers to do a bench excavation.
Which means?
Which was removing on the banks of the river on both the north side, which would be Santa Cruz County side, and also the Monterey County side, 300,000 cubic yards of sediment that is built up over the years, and actually removing that, and so it allowed a much more capacity for water to flow during a storm.
I see.
And so that's reduced the risk of flooding for now. That's probably good for about 15 years. But 300,000 cubic yards is 30,000 truckloads of sediment.
Great way to describe it.
And then the South Zapotes Creek runs in there, and that's a major flooding area because it meets the Pajaro River right by the Bay Village senior citizen area of Watsonville. And we were able to raise the banks to the 1949 height.
Has there been erosion or?
Slowly over the years. And we're not talking about a lot, but we were able to use some of the sediment, go there and raise the South Zapotes Creek maybe 6 to 8 inches. When you multiply that by the speed of water going through and during a big storm and the width of the river, that amounts to over 3,000 gallons a second more that creek was able to, the capacity, and that runs into the river where we did the bench excavation, and that water is now running better and getting it out of the areas where it would cause
And where
flooding.
does it flow From where does it flow to?
It goes all the way to the ocean, which is about 4.5 miles from here.
So, in a lot of ways, as I said, we should be so lucky that we have this issue.
Sure.
We're facing a drought as we speak, but are there still challenges, even though we are in the midst of a drought?
Yeah, the biggest thing going right now is we've been trying to get a 100-year plan.
I see.
Which would actually take out and widen the river 100 feet on each side. A 100-year plan, 100 feet on the Monterey side, 100 feet on the Santa Cruz side, and not the whole river, but in certain areas where it makes turns. They're called reaches of the river. So we finally got a $700,000 grant from the federal government. We have
to study
it and actually go ahead. We've been studying it for 20 years.
Okay.
So we have all those plans. So we're going to be able to expedite this and get it in the hands of. There's probably about 50 to 60 permits you have to have signed off to do anything in the Pajaro River. And you did mention the habitat and a beautiful area. We were very careful to protect the birds and also the pond turtle, the red-legged frog, and everything. When we did the bench excavation, we'll do the same thing with the 100-year plan.
So where do we stand today? There's a $700,000 available for study, but I believe the entire project will cost close to $200 million.
Right.
So are you starting to cobble together the funds either through the federal government, maybe the water bond? There may be funds through the water bond, I'm not sure. Local monies, what can you tell us?
It'll be a combination of the federal government, the state of California, and all the counties involved. So that would be Monterey, Santa Cruz, and San Benito and Santa Clara County. And that money would be, a lot of it would be matching, but the federal government has to come through. But the fact that they gave $700,000 to study this and actually submit a plan is a major breakthrough.
When did that happen?
It just happened maybe a month ago.
Okay.
And that was Congressman Sam Farr.
Sure.
Finally was able to get some interest, and we are actually having dialogue for the first time in many years with the Army Corps of Engineers, where they're showing some interest in coming down here. They really need to, because the number one risk of flooding on any river in California is right here.
Oh, really?
It's the Pajaro River. But the fact is, you have bigger cities that have maybe less risk, but they have more people and they have more representation in Congress. So they've been getting money like the Delta and up by Sacramento. They're getting a lot more money than we are.
Is there a way to capture any of this water as it's heading out if there is a major event? As we know, there's a lot of discussion in the wake of our drought to improve capture, either for above ground or groundwater storage.
It's all good. Capturing it rather than having it just run and lost into the Pacific Ocean. We're talking about fresh water. And yes, the first capture we're working on now is with the Pajaro River Flood Protection Board, and that is the 10,000 acres in Santa Clara County, getting that water before it runs down here and letting it naturally flood the area that is that 10,000 acres. It's currently being
flood it
farmed.
And then let it go into the groundwater.
Let it go in there. And that'll relieve a lot of pressure where it's coming down here in a major storm. The 10,000 acres, what we're doing is buying up easements and fee title from all of the farmers and landowners in that area. And what they give up is the fact that they can continue to farm in that area, but with the understanding in a major flood that water is going to go there.
I see.
And that the zoning will not change. It will remain pretty much farming, and it won't be, nobody's going to sell it and build a housing development up in that area.
When do you expect the project to begin, if you could predict?
We have begun on that. Of the 10,000 acres that are available up there, the 4 counties, we have purchased the rights to about 1,200 acres.
Will you come back and we can talk more about this?
I'd love to.
His name is Greg Caput. He is a supervisor in Santa Cruz County. My name is Brad Pomerance from Watsonville, California. It's California Edition.